Real quick before we get started, we have something really cool we want to tell you about.
Legendary Magic the Gathering artist Mark Poole's playmat collection over on Kickstarter is still going on, but it's wrapping up very soon.
The campaign features art from some of Poole's most iconic work, like Birds of Paradise, Counterspell, and Library of Alexandria.
And they've hit stretch goals that added more iconic options like Ancestral Recall and Balance.
Plus, you get museum-quality prints of Mark Poole's art, or even a huge table-length playmat that features the events of the Brothers War.
The campaign ends on March 10th, so use the link in our description to check out the Mark Poole playmat collection before it's too late.
Now let's get into the video.
That was great. That was awesome. We don't need to redo that.
Double check that it looks normal and right. Does it look normal and right?
I think so.
I think it's the lack of stubble that I feel like it doesn't look right. This was an accident, by the way.
Oh, the pirate look that you're going for wasn't an on-purpose thing?
I looked up Jack Sparrow halfway through the process.
I
swear.
Who's the sexiest character I can model myself after?
When it looked so bad, I was like, oh, I need some inspiration. This is not good.
Dude, you gotta start growing your hair out now. If you're gonna do this, you gotta commit.
I'll wear the hat.
If it was me, my hair would grow faster than my beard would grow back in.
I hope you have some metal beads in your hair next time so you can pull off your aspect of the Jack Sparrow look. I'm putting the pressure on.
We're each fighting over for parts of the Jack Sparrow costume.
Yeah.
You get the mustache and the goatee.
Yeah.
And then I'll just take the hair.
Yeah. All right, ready? This podcast is brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the affiliate link down below for 5% off to help support the show.
Welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in cEDH. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dylan. This week we are talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Magic the Gathering.
It almost made it sound like we were not a cEDH podcast for a second.
Yeah, we are talking about cEDH, competitive Elder Dragon Highlander, but we were talking about the new Magic the Gathering set, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So is that the name of the set? Is there a name?
I think all of the Universes Beyond sets are just named after the IPs. So
I feel like that's not actually true, but that's what I envision in my head. Is that real?
Well, yeah. Okay, let's go to Scryfall, for example, and go to Advanced and click on Sets. I got way better at Scryfall since last week's episode.
It's really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and what's really frustrating is that the set abbreviation is TMT.
Oh.
Because they don't do four letter abbreviation.
That stinks. Yeah, you're right. That does stink.
That's funny.
Should we talk about our opinions on the set? I feel like the set is a little bit of a hot topic on the internet. I know not many of our viewers, I guess I don't know the ratio of how many people are actually on the internet, but I feel like there's some negative talk going around the turtle set. Should we talk about it? I think
if you're watching a YouTube video, you're on the internet.
Yeah. Wait a minute, it is the same place. Okay. Yeah. Do we want to talk about like our initial opinions on the set and like how we feel about it, or should we just like get into a card and get there as we get there?
Let's go over our opinions on the set at the end.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So whether it's going to be good or bad, you'll know what we think at the end.
Only at the end.
Only at the end.
All right, let's talk about the first card.
All right. April O'Neil, Human Element, is our first card. This is 3 and a blue for a 2/5 legendary human detective. And whenever a player casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery, you create a mutagen token. Now, what's a mutagen, you ask? Well, it's an artifact with 1 tap it and sacrifice it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, but you can only activate it at sorcery speed.
I would say what a mutagen token is for cEDH largely nothing. There might be some weird combo situations, but largely it's a token.
Basically, it's an artifact token.
It's an artifact specifically token.
It's akin to, I guess, treasures and food and something. Like, it's a token that only exists as a token type, I guess. Like, a thing that only exists as a token type, but maybe we could come back to.
Is there no other mutagens as creature types in cards?
I don't know.
You might have just talked out your ass right there. I don't know if that's true or not.
I guess I should say it's an artifact token that is created by other cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think all that this does is it creates you a lot of artifact tokens. I don't think that the mutagen part of this is necessarily relevant. I also think 4 mana for this effect is just far too much. But there are some weird situations and some things that it can do, specifically if you're playing
Urza?
Nope. Yeah, maybe Urza. Urza can use all those things for mana. That's really good. I was thinking about Marneus, because every time a token enters, you draw a card with Marneus.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, those are powerful strategies that you could do. This is 4 mana, and I feel like 4 mana is a lot of mana for this effect.
I feel like Marneus plays a lot of 4 mana bullshit to make the deck work.
I think it'd be worth it to consider in a deck like that.
Whenever a player, so like you can trigger it off of your own instance and sorceries.
That's pretty huge.
And artifacts. And artifacts too,
artifacts.
which also includes artifact creatures. So if your Esper Sentinel comes out after, if the thing that combos with Warren Soul Trader that makes an additional Thopter with every single mutagen that you make, that's kind of wild
That could
then
be good.
too. I mean, you're still only drawing one card off that because Marnia sees the two things enter at the same time and will only draw one card, but still making like 2 tokens with 2 cards is an okay.
It's okay. If you can use the token, you have to be able to use the token in another way because the token is largely nothing. That +1/+1 counter is not going to matter. We might talk about Lannis a few times today. There might be some combo situations where that +1/+1 counter might matter.
But I'm not looking to like make my Esper Sentinel bigger on the reg.
That's not really anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's anything. So I don't realistically think this card is that good. It's not going to see a ton of play in the most popular decks, but I do think it's a reasonable consideration for Marnius and Urza, and who knows?
I really just like the first half of the wording on this card, and then they went, whoa, we made it way too good. We got to back off. Make the mutagens bad. Make them bad.
I feel like they like upped the mana cost or something because the effect is so powerful. 4 mana, it has to be as good as like Smothering Tide.
Well, you
it has
could
to be,
put
like,
this
powerful.
on a way cheaper creature that's just not a 2/5 is the other
Make
thing.
it a 1/1
Like,
or something.
She's got 5 toughness.
Probably going to be helpful, but like
I guess.
I'd rather be 3 mana.
In reality, there's no world where like I need her to have 5 toughness, and if I did, it needed to be 6 to get around Dismember. So like,
Sure.
it's not even like the 5 is generally helpful.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I would give this card like a 2. Like a 2?
I'm gonna give it a 2 because I think it has potential in those 2 decks.
2 out of 5. 5 being an all-star, 4 being pretty good, 3 being medium, 2 being it's okay sometimes, 1 being not a great card, 0 being not a cEDH card.
Wow, that's a way better scale.
I'm trimming
than
it
what
up.
we've been doing.
I'm trimming it up.
I like it. I like it a lot. Just like how I like this next card, Casey Jones and me. That was really bad. I'm gonna try this again. I'm just gonna cut that. Casey Jones, Back Alley Brute. 3 in a red for a 4/2 legendary human berserker with menace. And whenever Casey Jones attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. And whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature you control, Casey Jones deals that much damage to target opponent.
That last part, that is all will be 1 text, which is a combo piece for Obnixilis that Obnixilis normally doesn't even really play anymore. But this is a creature that can be found off of Beseech the Mirror that does the same thing.
I guess it's a little bit different because I think all will be 1 doesn't care what kind of counter it is. So there's a world where like if you put a charge counter on something, it would trigger all will be 1 and let you start to go off.
That might be true.
But the important thing with this is that it's just a +1/+1 counter that it cares about.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you have to attack with Casey Jones. If you just have any other source of damage, it will trigger Obnixilis. Casey Jones will see that you put the +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis, will deal 1 damage to someone, and then that will re-trigger Obnixilis.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be, I feel like every set there's always an Obnixilis card and a time card, and we're never sure about either of them. And I'm not sure about this one as well. But this seems like a better version of Wall Will Be 1 in almost all of the relevant ways. Those ways being that it's 4 mana and maybe easier to resolve because it doesn't get hit by Fierce Guardianship like All Will Be 1 would have or something like that.
Also
There's
true,
a lot of more
yeah.
negates in the format than there are hard counter spells. Realistically, what can counter this? There's Force of Will, there's Pact of Negation.
Mind Break Trap if
Mind
you
Break
don't
Trap.
sequence things right.
Right, yeah. I think that's like realistically all of the hard counters in the format.
90% of the time, this is what you'll see. Maybe someone at your local meta is playing a deck that has Counterspell in it. But
Mana Drain or something, you know what I mean? Delay. Sometimes I think about delay.
sometimes I think about it.
And
I
then I
dream
go.
about it, and then that's it.
Remember when it was good? Not anymore, but when it was.
and it wasn't even good then. Yeah.
Yeah, this card is, we normally talk about, I think this is like a 3. This is probably good in 1 deck, but 3s and traditionally are like, we're pretty sure they're all-stars in that deck. I'm not positive this is an all-star.
Well, because All Will Be 1 has been taken out of Ob decks for a long time even now at this point.
They've already decided they don't want that effect.
It's not a 1-card win condition. You need something else to go. However, you already mentioned like Beseech the Mirror is just like 1 additional way to help get Casey Jones in play, and he can trigger a way to put a +1/+1 counter and deal 1 damage on himself.
Slowly, he has to wait, right?
Slowly,
but
you have to wait. Yeah, exactly.
The inevitability is cool.
Exactly, yeah. But if you like, I don't know, maybe you're on like a Boots build of Obnixilis.
Oh, with like haste.
Yeah,
maybe you
where
have Skateboard in your deck.
Maybe you have Skateboard in your
card
deck.
that we'll talk about.
Which I can't wait for the Tony Hawk set, and they already ruined the card
No, they can just
Skateboard.
reprint it, yeah.
No, we'll get a ton of other skateboards. It'll be like Birdhouse Skateboard, and then
That would
it'll
be
be
kinda sick.
a bunch of just different skateboarding brands will get their own skateboard.
It's like Sword of War and Peace is one of them. So like it's just like all like Batterskull is one of them. Just
Skateboard
random
of
artifacts.
yeah. Oh, dude. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be so cool, dude. You know, skateboarding still comes up a ton in my YouTube Shorts feeds.
Does it really?
Yeah, like just highlight reels from like early 2000s and 90s skateboarding stuff.
I keep on seeing that one Bob Burnquist run. That's like,
Dude,
do you know what I'm talking
so
about?
So good.
When he's just like, he's going switchback. Like the first time I watched him, like, this isn't cool. And then I saw one of the comments that were like, pay attention to how often he's switching. And I was like, oh my God,
the switching.
he's a master.
And then like when he gets up at one point and he like kind of lands his tail right on, and then he jumps off and does a kickflip before coming back down the vert.
So effortlessly.
Right, and it's all just flow. I don't know how much of that run was planned. I feel like it was just flow, and he's just like,
I got to
doing
imagine
his
it's
thing.
planned, just like that's how he skates or whatever.
He was a
That's how he
playable
skates.
character in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, which is part of the reason, like, when I see that reel, I'm like, oh shit, I knew I liked Bob for a reason, and not just a silly hat that he wore in that game.
Yeah, the hat was fun. Anyway, what is this card? A 2.9?
I think a 2.9 because there's a better chance of seeing play an Ob Nixless,
Yeah.
but there's a chance that they still don't want it because it is a little bit more of like a 2-card combo if you want to win in the same turn.
It's only good with Obnixels for that combo potential. Besides its combo potential, it's kind of nothing.
We have another Casey Jones to talk about.
Nice. I like this one more.
This guy's really making an impact in Magic the Gathering. Casey Jones, Vigilante. He's 1 and 2 red for a 4/3 legendary human berserker. And when he enters, you draw 3 cards. And then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you discard 3 cards at random. And he says, Goongala.
Wait.
That's what he says. That's his thing. Goongala.
That's so funny. Okay. Woo.
I mean, I think he says that. He's not quoted as saying it, but it's in quotes. So somebody's saying it.
Somebody says
Maybe
it.
it's just me.
The reader's supposed to say it.
Goongala.
I built this Casey Jones as a commander for our CEDH episode for the Turtles deck, and I actually think it's kind of sweet. So far, I've only really been able to have it do its thing if I can resolve a Treasonous Ogre, and then if you can make 10 to 13 mana and cast Casey Jones, and then cast all of the Heat Shimmers and Panharmonicons and all the ritual effects. It's just like a Ruby Storm deck. It just makes a whole bunch of mana and tries to copy Casey Jones over and over again. It's super fun. I don't know how consistent it is as a Storm deck. Realistically, the version that I built is just kind of like a Tali plus Ral, combine them together, and then that's this deck. Make a bunch of mana, get a bunch of reducers, get as many like Bergy type mana effects like Runaway Steamkin is so fucking sick in this deck.
It was cracked.
Dude,
oh my God.
I had a situation where I was able to like make copies of the Runaway Steamkin because I had a bonus round available. So I was heat shimmering my commander and the Runaway Steamkin, and then I was able to flashback the new elemental thing.
I can't believe you were able to flash back Kindle the Inner Flame.
Kindle the Inner Flame. I just like made a whole bunch of copies of Runaway Steamkin and then cast the Kindle of the Inner Flame from the graveyard by just you just acknowledge that
You just behold them. You just behold them. Here they are.
I read it so many times, like I don't have to get rid of them. I
You just show that you have, which
I
is
have them.
bullshit. Like, why
Behold.
is that? Yeah.
Yeah, so when the deck gets to go off and do its thing, it is kind of insane. It does go fucking crazy.
Especially because you're not discarding those cards until your next upkeep. Even though you trigger Casey Jones 18 times and you'll have to discard, wow, whatever that number is.
Ideally,
here's math.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm winning the game that turn. When I cast Casey, I just make copies of Casey over and over again and win the game.
you're going to have no cards in your hands when you untap, even if you can't win the game that turn. So it's not like you're going to discard this many number of cards that are on screen or whatever.
Exactly. And also something to note is that discard those 3 random cards, that's like a trigger. So if you like get rid of Casey, you still have to discard 3 cards at random.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you flicker Casey 5 times and then pass, you will have to discard 3 cards at random 5 times on your upkeep.
It will make like Final Fortune turns really interesting too.
You have to cast Final Fortune and then on your next turn cast Casey for the first time. That's how it has to.
Yeah.
You can't like cast Casey, try to go off, and then like
I
Final
couldn't
Fortune.
go off this turn, but if I untap my lands, I'll be good.
Although Past in Flames is in the deck, there are situations where you're like, okay, discard my whole hand with
Christ,
Past in Flames,
yeah.
and then we're good to go. There are things that you can do to like make that okay.
That's
still playing
good outs.
That's good. I'm still playing 2 of the extra turn spells, and there's also like weird things that I noticed. I have Emergence Stone, so if you can go in the upkeep in response to all those discard triggers,
yeah.
that could be also something. What's the one removal spell that's a ritual that you don't like for Atali?
Oh, the Last Agni Kai.
Last Agni Kai, it's an instant speed ritual, so when you make that mana in your upkeep, and then it also says on the card, mana doesn't go away through steps and phases, so you get to keep that mana as you go into your main phase 1, so when you draw something maybe you can cast it. There's like little tiny things that make it better, but realistically, I found that you want to go when you resolve Casey. All that being said, I'm not even sure if this deck is very good. It feels like it is a worse version of both Ral and Atali. I feel like if it has Trees of Sogre in play, it's really in a good spot. And if it doesn't, it's kind of slow and it's hard to make enough mana to continually keep going. Now, I just built a deck and there could be a whole bunch of shit that I'm missing. I'm no deck building expert, you know what I mean? But I think the card and the deck style is really sweet, so I hope that it's good. I'm just not positive if it's better than Ral. It does a very similar thing, feeds Rhystic Study a ton. There's no room for really much interaction at all.
I think Ral's payoff once you like get Ral flipped is a little bit better because you get to cast probably on average like 5 spells without paying their mana cost. Right. Whereas when you get to do that with Casey, it feels like you got to draw, maybe 6 cards, I guess, but you don't have the mana to cast them all right away. You have to find it somewhere else.
And realistically, like that's how I've been able to win without the Trees and Sogres. Like you have to have like a Burgi in play. You have to have another way to like continuously make mana as you go. You have to have a reducer in play where it's like Ral is already the reducer.
Yeah, whereas like if you just have Ral and Burgi, it's amazing. Whereas like this deck, you need like the Helm of Awakening and Burgi and your commander.
And, but it's nice that a lot of those effects, they stack pretty well when you have Ruby Medallion and Helm of Awakening out and your Jessica's Will only cost 1 mana. It gets out of hand and it gets very crazy. And a little bit of the difference with Ral is like Ral plays a lot of 2 mana, draw 2 cards basically. Like that's what the effect is. And then in Ral, it makes them a 1 mana, draw 2 cards. And in this deck, it's a similar thing, except what you have instead of those 2 mana or 1 mana, draw 2 cards, you have like 2 and 3 and 4 mana, draw 3 cards. You have like the Heat Shimmer, which is effectively draw 3 cards. And then if you can make it cheaper, then you make it into a 1 mana, draw 3 cards if you get the other
eventually you can get to that point.
Yeah, but in that way, it's slower than what Ral does. It's a little bit bigger and it goes a little bit crazier maybe, but like without the Troger, it takes like till turn 4 to do.
And being like locked to mono red also means like Atali gets more tools to do stuff and Ral gets more tools to do stuff.
Except you do get like Ruby Medallion, which is insane in a mono red deck, and you do get Runaway Steamkin, like we mentioned, which is insane in a mono red deck, and Burgi is like extra insane in a mono red deck. But yes, you do miss out on a lot of important things from other colors too.
Some stuff is better, but a lot of things are also worse.
I love the deck. It's been super fun to play in Goldfish. I'm just not sure how good it is yet. I'm gonna give it, since I like it, I'm gonna give it like a 3.5.
Okay, that's high.
It's high, but I think there's potential. I'm not the best builder. I'm sure I'm missing at least 10 cards that are really good with this commander. That could
probably
make the
more
difference.
stuff to go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 3 because I am not sure this card's gonna see like tournament play in cEDH. Like I think this is a really cool kind of thought experiment deck, but I don't know that it's gonna have longevity and a lot of interest past this turtle set.
I understand where you're coming from, but I feel something. So
I totally get that. So it's a 3.25 overall.
Sounds great. What's the next card we're talking about?
That's probably going to be one of the higher ratings that we have today. Donatello the Brains is next, which goes along with Rakdos the Muscle. So I'm kind of glad that now this cycle is getting completed. So this is 2 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary mutant ninja turtle. And if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a mutagen token are created instead. And he also has Partner Character Select, which is a new version of Partner, which lets you have 2 commanders if both of them have Character Select.
Newish, right? Was the PlayStation Secret Lair, was that the first time that we saw Character Select? Or that's a different thing. That's not Character Select.
They had partners, father and sons. For like Kratos and
but they're
Atreus.
not okay. So the turtles can only be charactered with themselves right now.
They can only be paired with themselves right now. I want to say that Joel had Partner Survivor or something like that. Do you think it was Character Select?
I don't know why. I thought the video games one. I felt familiar to me, but I could be wrong.
No, father and son was definitely for Kratos and Atreus.
Because when we go to Star Wars, we can get Luke and Darth Vader, father and son, and then mix
them up. Yeah, all different kinds of father and son pairs.
Yeah.
Simba and Darth Vader. I can't wait. Yeah, Joel has Partner Survivors. I think we're going to dance around a bunch of different partner things until we go to, I'm going to say this universe a lot for this set, Mortal Kombat, and then that way any of these other fighting game universes is going to have like a great character select option. And now I'm mad that we already did Street Fighter.
There's no confirmation on Mortal Kombat, right? We don't know that. You're just hypothesizing?
But like fighting games is definitely a realm that we've been to. And
Scorpion would be so sick.
And they don't really come up in other card games a lot. more. Like, I would love to go to an anime universe, but anime pops up in other card games all the time. I think it's going to be hard to get anything that's in other card games into our card game right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that.
Because
it's competing.
Are Marvel superheroes in Lorcana?
No, because I think Lorcana is just actual Disney.
Then that's the only reason why we have a Disney property in Magic like that, I would say.
I thought that's a Lorcana was like actual factual Disney, not like acquired stuff, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they have to start going into Elder Realms and be like, ugh.
This card, Leonardo, this looks like the squirrel and the robot. Why am I so bad with names today? You know who I'm talking about.
It looks like Chatterfang, and we don't know the name of that robot that goes in Marnius legitimately, though.
Automated Autoton? Nope, that's like a lore type
Automated
thing.
Automaton
That's
is
a different card entirely.
Magda card.
Yeah, that's not this one at all. It's on screen right now.
Oh, yeah.
So this card does that, but except it's worse, I think, because the relevant thing about those is it works with Warren Soul Trader, because the extra body that you can make, you can sacrifice to Warren Soul Trader, make a treasure, and then the treasure will make another body that you can sacrifice, and it can create a loop. Whereas this, that is not the case. You can't sacrifice the Mutagen token to the Warren Soul Trader.
No, you can't. So there's really no reason to get that extra token, because it doesn't trigger Marnius an additional time since it sees it made at the same time.
I could see how there are some potential down the line, or like combo potential that I'm not exactly missing, because like replacement effects like this tend to be like powerful. Is that what it is? Is it replacement effects?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The Lannis Discord was asking about this because I think there might be ways where you can like reduce the cost of the mutagen thing to 0, so that way you can just start giving Lannis +1/+1 counters almost like infinitely, because then if you give him a +1/+1 counter for free, he makes another mutagen and a clue with this in play, and then that way you can just kind of make infinite clues and make him infinitely big. I don't necessarily think that's good for Lannis.
I'm gonna give this card a 2.4 and move on. I don't want to talk about it much more. It's just like it has potentially powerful text, so I think it's like worth like remembering.
Yeah, and I think partner character select is the strongest part on this card, because it's the blue one that does that, and there's a world where we'll get another character like Scorpion is black and red
and costs
and
0
has
mana.
Character select. And how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's move on and talk about Irma, part-time mutant, who is 2 and a blue for a 1/1 legendary human mutant shapeshifter, who says at the beginning of combat on your turn, Irma becomes a copy of up to one other target creature you control, except her name is Irma, part-time mutant, and she has this ability. Then you put a +1/+1 counter on her, and she's a 1/1.
I feel like this is like so almost good. It's a clone, which is powerful in CEDH. It's 3 mana, which is a decent rate for a clone in CEDH, but it doesn't get enters triggers, which is like one of the best parts about clones.
Yeah,
in my
it's
opinion.
Missing out on the best part about clones.
Now, what it replaces that with is instead you get pseudo haste on like following turns with things. So like if I play this first, and then on my following turn I play a Bloom Tender, and then this on combat becomes a copy of Bloom Tender, and it's been around a turn cycle, so it can tap for mana. I'm Sisay Brain, so
that's something.
That's something.
Or like I can copy someone's Lotho, and then if a Kinnan player plays Consecrated Sphinx, I can go, oh, I want that, and then on my turn I can have that.
It's always kind of the best thing on the field. It's great in Krark, because Krark doesn't care about the enters triggers, but also still just wants to clone things, so like it's fine in Krark. And
especially because she keeps her own name too, so
she stays around with the Krark.
So you don't even need like Sakashima around either. And I think pumping herself is also very relevant too, because your thing, if you copy your opponent's thing, is always bigger than theirs too. So like there's never really a scenario where you're like as worried about removal or something like that. Like it makes just a little bit harder for Bowmaster to take her out, so that you'll always still have the effect that you want, and a little bit more safe.
And it works really well with like Tymna. Like there's always a Tymna on board. It can just like become a Tymna, and then like you said, on the following turn it just like becomes like
a bigger Tymna, like
whatever.
a 3/3 with lifelink into right away. This is another Lannis card too, because it can become a copy of Lannis and then put a +1/+1 counter on itself right away.
Lannis pilots are eating good this set.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, Don. All right. But yeah, no, I think he was telling me that he thinks this might be replacing the one from War of a Spark that enters as a copy of that.
Spark Double?
Yeah,
I know that one, of course.
Does the same. Yeah, normally I'm the one that recalls the card's names.
Spark Double kind of sucks, but does way like it's necessary. 4 mana is I'm gonna say this a lot, but 4 mana is just a lot of mana. The card's gotta be super powerful for 4 mana to be worth it.
Exactly. This just being 1 mana less makes it way easier, especially like if you want to use a creature tutor to get it into play too. Like instead of spending 7 or 6 mana, now it's only 5. So
which is a big difference.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give this card a 3.5 because I know this is gonna go in Lannis. I guess Lannis isn't necessarily a huge powerhouse, but it top 16 to our last tournament at Cloud City. So
Go Don. 3 for me. Goes in one deck that's not that good, but Don knows the deck very well, and thus it's good.
Yeah, there we go. Krang and Shredder is the next card. This is for...
Like an Atali.
It's kind of like an Atali, yeah. It's cheaper, so it's better, right? And in better colors. It's 4 and then 2 Dimir hybrid for a 6/7. Nice. Legendary Ultram Human Ninja. Ultram is also... I hate that that's a thing. Yeah. I don't know what an Ultram is, but it sounds like a mispronunciation. Whenever it enters or attacks, each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. No shit. Okay, we understand something like that. And then it has Disappear, probably one of the only flavor words of the set. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you may cast a card exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost. Oh, it's way worse than Atali.
Yeah, it's worse. What was this word on Fatal Push? What was this keyword before?
Revolt.
Revolt. It's the same keyword? It's Revolt?
At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield.
If Revolt was met? Is Revolt what a permanent left the battlefield?
Oh, I guess it's not, Disappear's not a flavor word in this case. It's like an actual mechanic of the set.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know how to tell the difference between the flavor words and the actual mechanic names.
How do you spell Disappear?
DISS.
2 S's?
Oh shit. I thought, damn. I don't know. Is it 1?
I bet it's 1 because it's saying there's nothing
I'm so
coming
embarrassed.
Up.
DIS.
Well, I asked how you spelt it, so. Oh, yeah, it's only 1 S. Okay.
Now I look so fucking stupid.
Okay, so it's not. Fatal Push checks when you cast the spell if you've met the requirement.
Okay.
This is a trigger that goes on the stack at the beginning of your end step if you've met that same Fatal Push requirement.
But it is the same requirement.
It's effectively the same thing, but it checks to see, oh, wait a minute, here's one. When this creature enters, if a permanent left the battlefield.
So Revolt can be that.
Revolt can be, but like
Revolt is as a checking of did a permanent leave the battlefield this turn. It's the same thing. Anyway, this card is not good. It's a 6 mana weird version of Atali, but it doesn't actually allow you to win the game on the spot. It allows you to cast just one of those spells, right?
Yes.
And on the end step.
Yeah, if you met the condition.
If you met the condition. You can cast sorceries in the end step. It allows you to cast them without paying their mana cost. You avoid timing restrictions. You cast right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's good at least. But if you hit, I guess there's no chance you'll hit a counter spell because there's 4 of them. It's unlikely you'll hit 4 counter spells. It's the same Atali thing.
It would be really sucky if you did, but yeah, you could probably get like a food chain or a twin flame or something from somebody's deck.
You get to play a lot of clones too, so you can clone your guy, but then you don't get additional versions of it, right?
It's still one trigger. Yeah, you just get a chance at more things that you would be able to cast.
So if that last clone that we talked about, if I have 2 versions of my commander out and they have different names,
oh, well then yeah, that would work.
I get 2 end step triggers,
if
right?
you have Krang and Shredder in play, then yeah, you
Krang
would
and Shredder and Irma part-time mutant. That is a copy of, right?
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to say Krang and Shredder so many times.
That is fine.
So you would get 2 of the same triggers, but from those 2 different permanents. So each one of them triggers separately, and you'd be able to cast 2 of those spells.
This is also a deck that we played in our episode.
Exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost, though. So maybe you can only exile the card that's exiled to its own ability. So like if you want 2 of the cards from Irma, but your Krang can only get
is that true?
One of its, maybe. It says exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost.
Well, normally when a card says with Krang and Shredder, it means with itself. It means it's talking about itself. And the other card's name wouldn't be Krang and Shredder either way.
So that means that Irma would only be able to...
I think it means it counts. It only counts its own.
If I replace the text Krang and Shredder in the disappear ability with the word itself, that means that Irma would only be able to get the stuff that itself exiles and not the stuff that the other Krang and Shredder gets.
It feels like a very nerfed version of Atali, obviously, except it's in, quote, better colors. And also, if you're doing Hullbreaker Horror stuff, if you make infinite mana with Hullbreaker Horror, then you can bounce Krang and then recast Krang and then bounce something else.
That's really what this is.
Exile everyone's library, have like your makeshift food chain sort of type of thing.
Yeah, do you remember when like we were always like, oh, it's another Dimir Scepter deck that's coming into the format? This kind of feels like that, but instead it's a Hullbreaker Horror outlet instead.
I mean, it's kind of like a big-ish effect on a lot of manas. You can think of it as like something to ramp into, but I just don't think that effect is that powerful because you only get 1 of the 4 spells. But the fact that it is on every attack, that is also kind of nice. The fact that it is at every turn, like you do have some level of inevitability.
So that when you get your 6 mana commander in play and then wait a turn and then attack with it.
Well, for the second trigger, because it's an enters trigger and an attack
trigger. For the second trigger, you're right.
Right, yeah. So if you get Irma out or whatever, and then you do a turn, and inevitability, sure.
I'm giving it a 1.
A 1? Yeah, 1's probably right.
It's not going to see play outside of the video that we were going to do with it in.
You know what? I'll give it a 1.8. I do think think there's something. Just Hullbreaker Horror is powerful. But I'll give it a 1.8, but you're probably right. That's not going to do anything, I don't think.
All right, Leonardo Cutting Edge is the next card. This is 1 and a white for a Mutant Ninja Turtle, and it's got Sneak, which says that you can cast it for white if you also return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand during the declared blocker step, and he enters tapped and attacking. He's a 1/1 with lifelink, and whenever you gain life, you can put a +1/+1 counter on him.
First time we're seeing Sneak. It's a worse ninjutsu, but like a balanced ninjutsu or something, because it can only happen in the declare blocker steps and you're actually casting it rather than just activating an ability. From what I can tell, it's like strictly worse, which is fine. Ninjutsu is, kind of powerful. The thing that this is good, which I'm not sure that it actually is any good. You like the way I said that, right?
Yeah, twice too in a row.
I repeated it so you would realize that. I knew that was a mistake. I knew I said it not good. Walking Ballista and Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Oh, we love these cards.
These cards it's like a Heliod. It's a Heliod situation. Rather than getting Heliod and Walking Ballista, you need your Leonardo and then also Agatha's Soul Cauldron and Walking Ballista. Because if you put Walking Ballista into the graveyard and you have Agatha's Soul Cauldron and you exile the Walking Ballista with the Agatha's Soul Cauldron to put a +1/+1 counter on your commander, now Leonardo can remove a +1/+1 counter to use the Walking Ballista's ability to deal damage to something. And when it deals damage to something, it has lifelink, so it gains a life. And when you gain a life, Leonardo says, whenever you gain a life, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Oh, look at that.
That's the combo. You played the deck. I've made a shops version of the deck. What did you think of it?
I was actually way more impressed by it than I thought that I would be.
There's a decent amount of tutors that get you what you need. It's not the worst.
Like, it's kind of interesting that, it's one more card that you need to combo off than Heliod does. Yeah, but it's like better cards and less mana at the same time, though. It's so cheap to do. Leonardo's really only 1 mana if you can set it up right. I had a scenario where I was able to get rid of the only blocker that someone had in play, so I could get an unblocked scenario going, so we could be 1 mana.
The combo is it's a 3 mana combo. It's 1 mana to sneak in Leonardo, 2 mana for Agatha Soul Cauldron, and then cast Walking Ballista for 0, and it just goes right to the graveyard. That's the combo. So it is, mana-wise, it is pretty tight.
And you can do it at instant speed, too, which maybe you should do. Maybe you shouldn't do, depending on whatever scenario you're in. But, it's nice that it's flexible, since once you set that up, it's just triggers that happen at that point.
Yeah, so if you just play Walking Ballista, goes to the graveyard, and you just pass your turn, and on your end step, someone's like, I'll try to destroy Agatha Soul Cauldron. You go, okay, in response. I will exile it and try to do it in response.
I'll do it,
yeah. It's an instant speed. So that part is pretty nice.
Yeah, I was shockingly surprised with this deck. Not that I think it's going to go many places. I think that not having card advantage in the command zone is tough, and having 1 card of a 3-card combo is a little bit tough to set up too. But Triskelion also works with this, and Ranger Captain of Eos can go get your Walking Ballista.
And Ranger of Eos before the captainship, that one's also pretty good. It goes against Walking Ballista.
And plus a protection piece.
You have Urza Saga. There's a reasonable amount of weird tutors that can find Walking Ballista, which is pretty good. And
not Urza Saga though, because of the mana cost thing. Urza Saga doesn't let you get the XX.
Urza Saga finds a Sensei's top for the other part of the combo.
Oh, if you want to do what's the name of the 4 mana thing that you put in the deck?
There's so many 4 mana things, but I know the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, Mystic Forge.
Mystic?
Yeah, Mystic Forge.
For the artifact, that's what it's called? Yeah, that is what it's called, isn't it? Why did they do that?
Because it is still magical.
Yeah, with Sensei's top and a artifact reducer is also just a commander agnostic artifact combo that I put in the deck. It seems like you just don't have that many options in mono white, and it seemed all right.
It was great, yeah. You put Aether Reflux Cannon in the deck too, which is oh, great. There's a way you can win with that. But it's a cannon, though.
It is a cannon.
Yeah. So I'm right.
We're so good with names today.
So good with them. Yeah. Well, I don't need to be good with names when the next card is also called Leonardo,
We didn't rate this one. I'm going to give it a 2.
Oh, I'll give it a 1.5.
Yeah. Somewhere around there sounds good.
I'm giving it 1.5. I was impressed with the deck that you put together for this, though. I'm not going to lie. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Leonardo the Balance is 3 and a white for a legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle, and he's a 3/3. That's how they said it in the ads growing up. That's why I keep saying it like that. Whenever a token you control enters, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control once each turn. And then you can pay Wooburg to have creatures you control gain Menace, Trample, and Lifelink until end of turn.
You have to say all this stuff.
I know, right? And it has partner character select, which is, again, the only interesting part of this card.
You can play 5 colors, and you can have this card as one of your character selects, and then use one of the other ones and make a 5-color good stuff deck, and that deck will be better than all of the other decks we have talked about today, because that's how cEDH is.
We paired it with with Michelangelo the Heart, because Michelangelo's the cheapest character select option. Yeah, it's 1 and a green for a 2/1. Mutant Ninja Turtle with Trample and Raid the Fridge. At the beginning of your second main phase, if you attack this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control and create a food token.
It makes a food. So if you're playing Cabbage Merchant, it makes half a mana. Sometimes, I don't know.
But like, it also is synergistic with Leonardo because you make the food and then Leonardo sees that and then you get another +1/+1 counter on all of your things, and now you can make your bigger creatures menace, trample, and lifelinky.
If there was a 2-mana version that was red or blue with character select, I think you would probably play that for Flare of Duplication or Flare of the other one.
Or just to like actually make Mox Amber good.
Right, yeah, but this one, the only other option with character select I thought was the black one, the Splinter, which could be fine also. I didn't see that one doing like anything at all, and just the Greenwood, it was the only difference. It made it half a mana with Cabbage Merchant. The black one, I couldn't figure out what it could do anything.
But keep an eye out for Leonardo for when character select comes back in the Mortal Kombat set eventually.
We don't know this. We have no inclination this is actually going to happen. He's just convinced that that's going to be the one time that they break their pattern of making a new version of partner every time. Well, and that's the one that they return it to.
I mean, I guess, yeah, it could be another fighting game.
Did we rate this one yet?
It's the best. So 4. I guess.
The best deck. It's the 5-color good stuff is better than all.
That's all we did with the 2, by the way. It was just a 5-color good stuff deck.
It's bad. I give it a 1. You would never play it because there's just so many better 5-color deck options.
All right, great. So it averaged out to 2.5. Okay. All right, our last creature is Mutagen Man Living Ooze, who's an X and 2 green for a legendary mutant ooze, who's a 2/3 with trample and activated abilities of artifact tokens you control cost 1 less to activate, and when he enters, you create X mutagen tokens.
That's a very interesting line of text. It doesn't sound interesting. It sounds bad because artifact tokens is a very specific thing. But normally these reducer effects, they say this cannot limit the reduction to lower than 1. Specifically, the ones that work with Thrasios, their names are
Biomancer's Familiar,
and Training Grounds and Zerta. They all say it can't lower less than 1. This doesn't have that restriction. What's the word I'm trying to say?
Restriction.
Yeah. This doesn't have that same restriction. If one says it can't reduce it less than 1 and one doesn't have the reduction, how does that work? Like if you have Training Grounds and this out, how does that work? Is it a layers thing or is it can't beats can? Do we know?
Wow. All right. My ego's really inflated from doing that distant coder video that we did the other week. So like, I want to say that like you can stack it in a layers way, in such a way where the Biomancer's Familiar 1 is applied first and only reduces it to 1, and then you can apply the Mutagen Man to reduce it by 1 more.
That sounds fun. Is it like a timing thing? Is it the order? If I play Training Grounds first and then the Bioman can reduce the final amount, but if I play the Training Ground second, is it like a timing situation, or is it just every time I activate, I just get to decide in which order I apply these effects? Because I don't know. Because normally you only one of the thing. I don't know, dude. I don't know how it works. This is another Linus card, if it wasn't clear. That's the part of it that's relevant. I just don't know if you're in a Thrasios deck and you're making clues, can you make your clues pop for 0 because you have Training Grounds in this out? I don't think that's worth it, but just curious.
Well, Biomancer's Familiar says creatures you control.
Does Training Grounds say the same thing? So maybe that won't even be relevant there.
Training Grounds is also creatures you control.
I guess it rarely is going to come up because you'd have to have an artifact creature token to work with both of those things.
I have no idea. I don't see anything in the Training Grounds thing that says something about this.
If you Google Training Grounds and what is this card called?
This card's like too new for there to be like actual shit to be up on it. I Googled Mutagen Man and Biomancer's Familiar, and there's like so much more stuff coming up about Biomancer's Familiar from like way before Mutagen Man was around. We've spent way too much time talking about cards that don't matter.
It's only going to be good in
Lannis.
2.
2. That sounds good.
Next.
We're moving on to non-creatures now, starting with Shredder's Technique, which is 2 and a black for a sorcery that also has Sneak for a black mana that lets you destroy target creature or enchantment. If an enchantment was destroyed this way, you lose 2 life.
I think there's a world that mono black decks might consider this. I think mono black decks have a really hard time getting rid of enchantments. Not that you necessarily need a way to get rid of enchantments, but this one is a pretty good one. The fact that you can make this cost 1 mana, and I think that's not unreasonable to be able to sneak this out sometimes. It is restricting, the fact that it's 3 mana otherwise. That is a lot, but I have seen mono black decks like Kirk and like Gwenum play one of this effect that can get rid of an enchantment for a weird, like if you need to get rid of a rule of law, you don't want to just be like completely dead to deafening silence or something.
The 2 mana one's also a sorcery, but you lose more life on average to it for what you want to get rid of.
But this one could potentially be 1 mana. Sometimes 1 mana makes all the difference. I don't know. It's a 2.
It's a 2. Yeah, it's an option that you have, which I think is interesting. Splinter's Technique is probably the best card in the set. This is 3 and a black for a sorcery with Sneak for 1 and a black that lets you search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So it's either a Diabolic Tutor or a Demonic Tutor.
One of the best cards in all of Magic, one of the
worst cards in all of Magic. Yeah.
For like Rog side, this is a consideration because Rog is 0 mana, so you can just attack with your 0 mana creature commander that has Menace, so it's like hard to block, and then you spend 2 mana and you get a Demonic Tutor. That's gonna be pretty nice.
The important part. If Rog didn't have Menace, it wouldn't be worth talking about this in there. But because Rog like requires someone to have 2 things in play to be able to block, you could consistently get this to be 2 mana.
And I do think Rog has like a weirdly flexible slot in its final tutor selection where I see a lot of decks play Grim Tutor and I see a lot of decks also play Demonic Council. Sometimes both, but normally just one or the other. I think there's a world where this card could be in that consideration pile of like your last tutor that's like somewhere around 2 mana or like 3 mana. Like 3 mana cuts the life cost or 2 mana, but you have to worry about Delirium. Not that that's that difficult, but like it's sometimes hard to get Delirium on turn 1, which is when you want to cast a tutor. But this cannot be cast on turn 1 because it's 4 mana on turn 1. But you can cast it for 4 mana on turn 1. If you make 4 mana, you can.
Well, but then you're not using that 4 mana on whatever you're tutoring for, which is like really what you need that mana for.
Whereas like Demonic Council, though, it just straight up can get you nothing with the Dark Ritual and a Lotus Petal. Whereas this, it could get you something with that
There's
mana.
a world where this could still be good then, yeah.
I also find that like Demonic Tutors are at their best not when you're casting them in combat. They are at their best.
Yeah, like they're good. Like you can never have this be 2 mana after you Necropotence, and like you need this to be the thing that after you Born Upon a Win, this is what gets you your Underworld Breach or something.
It's going to be 4 mana in the end step, which is kind of going to be a lot. Like Demonic Council, sometimes if you had a Necro Dominance hand and there's nothing in your graveyard and you can't turn your Demonic Council on, it does nothing. Whereas this is at least 4 mana to go get it, with the upside of sometimes being 2 mana. The issue is you can't cast it on turn 1, and then it's not good in the end step. And it also is a bigger hit off of Ad Nauseam, which is like a weird kind of relevant thing.
That counts.
A lot of times Demonic Tutor is at its best when you cast Demonic Tutor, hold priority, crack Lion's Eye Diamond, discard my hand, and the thing that I go get with the Tutor, I can cast with the Lion's Eye Diamond. Whereas this, you can't do that because when you're doing that, I mean, I guess you could still do it in combat, but
so long as whatever you get is an instant,
right? Or you already have
that.
flash, right? I don't know. It feels close. It could be a Demonic Tutor. Anything that's 2 mana search library for a card, I think it's worth considering. And also, I'm just talking about Rog. If you're playing Wrong Side, the slower version of Rog, there's like a lot more windows where you would want a 2 mana tutor, and this could be really good there.
Probably, because the problem is if you're playing the turbo version, now you attack with Rogrok and everyone knows what you're doing.
Right.
Does anyone have like a bounce spell or something? Like, because now they're trying to set you back, and your plan probably involved getting a 2 mana tutor off, and having a 4 mana tutor probably prevents you from winning that turn.
Yeah, and if everyone does have 2 creatures and you have to just like hope that they don't double block, and like everyone talks, oh, yo, you got to double block, it just gives your opponents one more spot to interact with you. There are other decks. Yuriko could look at this. It's a Yuriko flip. You want to be, sneaking and ninjutsuing anyway.
That's so awkward because like, do you get the Yuriko trigger or do you get the tutor then too?
You might have to decide which one you want.
But like if you bounce the Ornithopter that got Yuriko back out, then who cares? Like you already play cards that are going to be super synergistic with this already. This might as well be a good flip. Oh, and you're right. It might do a lot of damage to everyone else if you flip it with Yuriko. Now that's 4 damage instead of like 3 if it was a Grim Tutor instead.
And that being said, how good is Yuriko? I don't know. So in the hands of some pilots, it can be okay.
Well, it got better this set because of all of the ninja support
stuff.
that it gets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's probably other decks that I'm not thinking of right now that kind of actively want to bounce creatures back to their hand and want to be able to tutor that way.
Oh, is it worth like attacking with a Spell Seeker?
Like a Spell Seeker and reuse your Spell Seeker? Like there's some fun things that you can do.
Cards? No, because you don't want to ever attack with Spell Seeker. You want to win that turn.
Yeah, but if you're like a Guy's Cradle Crop Rotation Spell Seeker deck, and then you have Cloud of Fairies and you bounce your Cloud of Fairies back to your hand, you go search for Guy's Cradle.
So far, I've liked this card more that we've talked about decks that like I haven't talked about it before versus like when we've talked about it most, which is like in Rog side. Like I'm starting to feel like
better than those other decks.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like its worst home is probably Rog side. Like
Rog side is just the best deck that could play it.
Yeah, like it still could belong there, but it's also its worst home. But it could have a better home somewhere else where it does belong, whereas like there's a lot of places where it just doesn't have a home though too.
Blue farm when you bounce like your Mockingbird or your Ranger Captain or something, that could be fun.
That might feel pretty good.
There could be some things. I'm going to give this card a 3.5. I think it's almost a card. And I think that if you can make its downside and upside, that's going to feel really good.
I'm going to give it a 3.6 because you did say blue farm, and I guess this could be something. You do trade off on like the Tim to draw though too, but like this is just the perfect card to have then. You don't want the random card. Why don't you just get the perfect card?
Maybe it is better than a 3.5. Maybe I've given this too low a rating. I haven't been keeping track of what we're rating everything, but this is the best card. So if I gave did I give anything else a 3.5, do you think?
I gave the 5-color deck a 4 because it was a 5-color deck.
Both of them then. Or just the white one with 5-color activation?
No, they got rated together as a deck.
Okay.
So
then, yeah, I mean, I already said 3.5. I'm going to stick with it, but it might be higher than that. I might be wrong. It might be better than that.
We'll reevaluate it in another episode down the line. The next one's one of my favorites. Continue?
Oh, yeah. I don't think this card is very good, but it's like the best rate that we've gotten for this effect.
Pretty much, yeah. It's 1 and a white for an instant that lets you choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn and bring them back. You return them to the battlefield.
I don't think Timno wants this, but Dargo could sack a bunch of things and bring them all back.
The flavor is why I like this card, because did you ever play the Ninja Turtles arcade game? It's a 4-player game that you just keep putting quarters into the machine, and then once all 4 of you died, if you would get the continue screen, you had 10 seconds for each of you to put a quarter to 75 cents in each, and then once you were all in, you could hit start, and then the 4 of you came back. I preferred the X-Men version of this arcade game.
Yeah, the X-Men one was
But
fun.
I really like this flavor. I think this is another Mortal Kombat card that you could do. But again, though, there's not 4 characters in Mortal Kombat. There's only like you're only one.
Work the same way, yeah.
So I feel like they have to do something else. I don't know. The finishing card's going to be, fatality is going to be even better.
2 mana feels powerful. Bring 4 things back feels like a lot of things. I don't really know where this goes. I don't know if there's an exact home in cEDH for this. I think this is a powerful card, potentially. I don't really know where. And none of the active best decks right now, I don't think.
No. If there's maybe a way to loop this, like a way to put this back into your hand and then keep sacrificing
some
stuff.
Hulk pile maybe.
Yeah, like a Teshar-esque thing, but not in Teshar, because Teshar is already doing this on its own.
Yeah.
But if there's like a way that this turns something like that into something.
Yeah,
like if you remember like the old Safi Ericstotter and that angel, the angel that goes well with Kiki Jiki, Karmic Guide. This kind of reminds me of like a combo like that you might be able to do. Second Sunrise kind of eggs.
And it's just there's like other versions of this effect that do something similar. They're just like for 3 mana, or they do different things a little bit. Realistically, like 1.8. I don't think it goes anywhere specific, but
flavorfully, I want to give this a 5. This is one of my favorite cards in the set for that reason, but realistically in cEDH, I'm going to give it a 1 because I don't know what it does right now. I'll give it a 1.5 because I think that there is combo potential with this card.
Okay. What's the next one we're talking about?
Raphael's Technique. This is a cool one. This is 4 and 2 red for an instant that you can sneak for 2 and a red, and it would let each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards.
The May is kind of interesting. It doesn't do anything with Orcish Bowmaster because your opponents will just like refuse to do the draw. Normally, sometimes they might take it.
But you kind of don't care. That's great because then either they already have interaction in a hand that has fewer than 7 cards, or they're not going to draw into more interaction or something.
And 3 mana to draw 7 is going to feel really powerful in the decks that want this effect. For Rog, 6 mana is too high for Ad Nauseam, so I'm not going to try it there.
No, but it is interesting that like it's a wheel that is an instant speed. So if there is a world where you have 6 mana, someone goes to like remove your Bowmaster.
It's always instant speed. Even at 6 mana. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think there's a world where like you can maybe make use of that. I don't know what that world is. Is it our planet?
6 mana is a lot.
6 mana is a lot.
Planet, I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, the techniques thing is so weird for me because I feel like they were right to start a cycle here of old iconic Magic cards that they made more expensive but gave sneak, like the Splinter's technique and then Raphael's technique. Then they just dropped it after that. There's the Leonardo's technique. It draws you 2 cards, not 3 cards. Like I feel like they could have priced it so that it would draw 3 cards and be like an ancestral recall.
Yeah, why'd they have to do divination instead?
Yeah, and they did like rather than like lightning bolt, like the
shock. It's shock.
It's pyroclasm. It's 2 damage to each creature.
Oh, it was each creature? I thought it was just
That's
kind
of awkward, I feel like, because you have to sneak, so you have to like return an attacking creature, but you're attacking, so you're doing 2 damage to all of your like attackers.
Oh, that is
also
really
too.
awkward.
Why not make it lightning bolt and then like it be an iconic card? So like I don't know. There's a reason. I wish all the techniques would have matched this same cycle that they seem to be going of making old iconic cards and giving them this new.
I'm also mad that the only turtle that doesn't have its technique at rare is the blue one. Donatello. It's Kitsune that has the blue one, and maybe there's lore there. Like we were talking about this off camera. Maybe there's lore there that I just don't know. But it's very frustrating for someone who doesn't know the lore. So that's all I'll say.
If you know,
here.
let us know. Why does Kitsune have the rare technique and Leonardo or Donatello doesn't? I don't know.
The next card is my invitational card.
We didn't talk about what we rate the wheel.
Oh, pretty low.
Pretty low. Like a 2.
Like a 2.
Looks like a powerful card. A lot of these cards look like they're powerful cards, and then I'm not.
And they won't be.
And they won't be.
All right, my invitational card is called Sewer-veillance Cam, which is just me in a sewer. It's just watching things in a sewer. That's
Sewer-veillance?
It's blue mana for an artifact with flash, and when this artifact enters or leaves the battlefield, you may tap or untap target creature, and then for 3 and a blue, you can sacrifice it to draw 2 cards.
I think this is actually weirdly like the best card in the set.
Honestly, secretly, it's the card that we'll see the most play in the set.
I think so. Like, it does 2 or 3 kind of weird things. The fact that it enters or leaves to untap or tap a creature, that's a lot of choices you get on a 1 mana thing. That's just a lot, right? So the first couple of things that I have seen about this card are with Goblin Welder, because you have Goblin Welder and this and then anything else, and you can repeat that a billion times. If you have a Mox Opal or something and you tap the Mox Opal for mana and then you activate the Welder and you sacrifice the Mox Opal and you bring the Cam back and the Cam enters and it untaps the Goblin Welder, and then you activate the Goblin Welder to sacrifice the Surveillance Camera, and then once that leaves, it untaps the Goblin Welder and you bring back the Mox Opal. Then you tap the Mox Opal for a mana and then you tap the Surveillance Camera again to get rid of the Mox Opal, bring back the camera, untap the thing.
So this is basically like a 2-card infinite mana combo, because that mana rock that you use could be Mox Amber if you have your commander out, or it could be any artifact that taps for mana.
It has to net mana and it doesn't have a cost coming in and out. So like Mox Diamond or Chrome Mox wouldn't work, but like Soul Ring.
Even Arcane Signet would work because you don't have to pay the cost of the thing when it enters.
That's true.
You're just putting it into play.
That's true. It just does. Yes, right. It has to not have a requirement when it enters, like Mox Diamond
Chrome
or
Mox or Mox Diamond, like you're saying.
You're right. Any of the other ones, they work this way. Is that good enough? Like the Goblin Welder has to be not summoning 6, so it has to be around a turn. But there are already weird Grixis decks that are like entombing Bolas' Citadel and using Goblin Welder to bring that back. This could be another like piece of that puzzle if you're doing that stuff. It also works pretty well with the instant that gives a creature the ability to tap and bounce something.
Oh, either Banishing Knack or the other one that does the same thing, but we're gonna go with Banishing Knack because I forgot Retraction Helix's name.
Retraction Helix.
I can't remember the name Retraction Helix, so we're not going to talk about Retraction Helix.
I think that it has to be with Urza specifically. Is that true?
Yeah, because or you want to have like an artifact creature, which is why I think it makes
the most for mana.
Yeah, which is why I think it makes the most sense in Urza, because it will give the construct that Urza makes the ability to tap for mana, so that you use the construct to pay for the Cam, and then the Cam enters and untaps the thing, and then you can use the Banishing Knack to return the Cam back to your hand, and then when it leaves, it untaps the thing, which then you can tap again for a blue mana to recast the Cam.
And then it enters and untaps. I think that's just Infinite Storm. You need the Urza to tap the Surveillance Cam for a mana in between there to net mana.
While it's in play, yes, because Urza doesn't care about summoning sickness or anything like that.
So this gives Urza a 2 mana instant speed way to win the game with 2 cards. You have to also have Urza in play already, and then with 2 mana with just these 2 cards, you can go infinite with that. Does that bring Urza back to the top? I don't know, but Urza I feel like is a deck that in the right pilot's hands can do really well. And
this is not the first Urza card that we're talking about today either. April O'Neil is also something that we mentioned too. So like there might be a couple of things that this deck actually gets that could be interesting.
Arkham Daxum is also a card that goes crazy with this card because it untaps a creature when it enters or leaves. So you can like, I don't know the line, but you can definitely you can definitely win the game with this, I'm sure.
That's pretty cracked actually. Yeah, and it's an it's not a creature itself.
Not a creature,
so it doesn't work with the Daxum in that way. But if you have a couple of ways to make like Ornithopters or other kind of things like that.
And there's probably other shit that we're not thinking of. Also the fact that it can cantrip itself. You can just like dump some extra mana into it.
That's the thing. Like, this reminds me of the Wishing Well that Urza used to play that was just a 1 mana artifact that entered and did a scry to. You could do the same kind of divination effect with it later. But like this is way better, giving you the outlet to be like an infinite mana combo.
And the fact fact that like, yeah, you just like, you have your construct, you tap your construct to just play this, and when it enters, you untap the construct, and now you have 2 mana. It was like a Rite of Flame. It just acts as a ritual.
Also
that's like
true,
gonna be
yeah.
a combo piece later. That's so good in Urza.
That's sometimes all the mana that you need.
And does that make, I don't know if that makes Urza as good still, but this card, I'm going to give this one like a 3.1. I think it goes in, no, maybe more than that, because I think it might go in a couple decks. I think if you're on the Goblin Welder, Bolas Citadel, Grixis decks, I think this card is a consideration for that pile. It's like helpful with your line. The thing is, does it do enough stuff without the Goblin Welder? I think that might make it or break it if you want to actually put it in those Grixis decks, because otherwise, what's it doing in those decks if it doesn't work with the Goblin Welder?
I think if you're playing Banishing Knack and Valley Floodcaller in your deck, this could be something else that's worth doing. Like if you don't have an infinite mana combo in your command zone, or let me start this over.
So like a Thrasios File Smasher. You're playing red, you're playing Bolas Citadel, you're playing Thrasios.
Well, I guess maybe this is just superfluous, because all you need is like a mana rock with if you have the Valley Floodcaller thing going on, whereas like this means that like I would have to have this and Birds of Paradise still, but then Valley Floodcaller is still also already doing the Birds of Paradise. I think that this has those 2 homes. It has a home in Urza, and it has a home in any deck that wants to use Goblin Welder to try to get either Bolas of Citadel or this into play and like lean into that reanimation a little bit more.
Arkham Daxam also.
3 homes. Arkham Daxon. Okay.
No, that last one.
3.7.
That can go crazy, but yeah.
It slowly is getting more and more tools.
Every once in a while, yeah. And mono blue is like you're a little, which is weird. We used to think mono blue was the best single color combination in cEDH, and lately that's just like so not been the case for some reason.
Well,
but
what has it been?
It's red.
It's been red only because of Magda.
I guess
the worst color has the best monocolor deck. That's so funny.
I'm not even sure it's the worst color anymore. I don't know.
That's a whole separate conversation.
That's a whole thing,
yeah, we have 2 other cards we have to
Did we
get
rate
through
this
here.
one?
I said 3.7.
What did I say?
I don't know. What did you say?
For the surveillance cam?
Yeah, what do you want to say for it?
3.7.
Great, 3.7. Skateboard is next. This is 1 mana artifact equipment that when it enters lets you tap target permanent, and you can equip for 1 mana to give the equipped creature +1/+0 in haste.
Maybe Gwenum wants this.
This is probably a Gwenum card. You know, Gwenum does want this.
Urza Saga can find this. Urza Saga can also find the other one that gives Ward 1.
I don't know how relevant that is, whereas at least this way, if you Urza Saga this onto a Gwenum, then you can at least like tap down their 1 blocker if you want to keep your Gwenum around, I guess maybe.
That's something. These cards don't see play in cEDH really, but Trinisphere, you can turn off a Trinisphere. If Urza gets better, if Winter Orb sees play because Urza gets better, you can tap the Winter Orb or something when it enters. That tap thing can do other stuff. It can just tap down a blue source.
Now, the Winter Orb thing sucks because you probably already
It's already
untapped.
your turn, and
yeah,
you just let the people behind you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
don't do the Winter Orb thing. Yeah.
But Trinisphere is helpful to turn off a Trinisphere, I guess.
All right, so if you are playing an Urza Saga deck, if you're playing Gwenum against an Urza player that plays Trinisphere specifically, you should definitely play Skateboard in your deck.
Right, yeah. Otherwise, just haste is not needed enough in a lot of cEDH decks. That
if
haste
it
aspect,
was needed, we would play it on other things already.
So yeah, I don't know. 2, 1 to 1.
I'll give it a 1.
Yeah,
too.
a 1.
I'm just excited for the Tony Hawk set.
Yeah, I think
This
it's full circle. Holy
dude,
shit.
This set has made me so excited for other universes to go to. The Tony Hawk universe is beyond Mortal Kombat.
I think also this card, Skateboard, I think is going to be a card that might be strong in maybe other formats like Legacy or something. Give your Merit Lage haste or something like that. But there are other cards that have done that already. I don't know.
It's just another thing that does it. Maybe the tap will be cool. Our last card is an enchantment called Ninja Pizza, which is just the epitome of the set.
Do you
the
get
2
it?
things that
Pizza.
come up the most.
The Turtles, they love pizza. I'm wearing a pizza shirt. Do you get it?
Dude, I didn't even put
You're
that
wearing
together
orange
yet.
for the color of cheese.
The sauce and cheese, yeah. And the spicy pizzas. It's 2 and a green for an enchantment that says foods you control have tap to sacrifice this artifact to add 1 mana of any color. And at the beginning of your second main phase, create a food.
If you're playing Cabbage Merchant as your commander, this doubles your food mana.
That's great, actually, yeah.
That's what it does.
I mean, it makes them go away, though.
Makes them go away,
which kind of sucks a little bit.
Know.
But it turns your food into treasures, and it gives you a free 1 every single turn.
Yeah, I don't know where that goes. I don't think this card is very strong. But if you're playing the Merchant, then maybe.
I don't know. I want to look at every enchantment that's 2 and a green now that Sam from Howling Salt Mine kicked her ass with that 1, 2 and a green enchantment that comes out.
Yeah,
so
give
now,
it an extra look.
Yeah,
Just give it an extra look.
I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe this one will be really good.
This one's another like 1 or something.
It's a 1,
Yeah.
but it's a funny card.
Yeah, interesting card.
Yeah, I think now's a good time to talk about what we think about the set, because I think that us talking about a bunch of these ones at the end here are kind of like indicative of kind of what the set has given us to review.
Realistically, I don't care much.
About what? About the set or
the
about
set.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I think the cards are not strong. I don't really care that like it's like the cringy turtle-y pizza aspect of it. I don't really care that much about it because the card is the card. It's what it does. I think it's a little bit of a bummer that I don't really see any super powerful cards, but that's really the only issue that I have. I think like the strongest cards in this one that we talked about are the Splinter's Technique, which is the tutor. I think Casey Jones is like almost something. And then
the other Casey Jones, I guess.
The other Casey Jones, I guess, in one deck specifically.
It's a lot of things that like decks could play, but like the rates for a lot of these are just like not really great.
And Sewer-veillance Cam.
Yeah, and it's not really like better options than a lot of the other stuff that we have in a lot of circumstances.
So top 5 for me, Splinter's Technique is, I think, actually the best one. Sewer-veillance Cam is the second best one. The third best one is Casey Jones Vigilante. Fourth best one is Casey Jones Back Alley Brute. And the fifth best one, I'm going to say, is Irma Part-Time Mutant. I think those are the top 5, and I don't think those are particularly good. But like that's okay. Not all the sets have to be hits, and not all the sets have to be good for cEDH. It's a standard set. If it had a whole bunch of hits in cEDH, like realistically, we don't want the format to change all the time. You know what I mean? That's not really something we want. So I'm okay with the set not being super powerful. I'm not going to buy any of it. I don't really like any of the art style. Or the turtles are cool, but I don't know why this set just doesn't speak to me. It's just fine.
That's the other problem that I have. Like even outside of power, like a lot of my issues with it, I don't care that the set's not powerful. Like what I care about is that like it's not powerful and there's no flavor behind these characters. Like I don't get a sense for the story at all behind any of these cards. At least in the Avatar set, I got a good sense of what the world was behind like the cards and the flavor. And as someone who doesn't know anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I learned nothing about anything because everything's so generic and +1/+1 counters and just like random bullshit that this didn't have to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We could have done this in another Lorwyn block or something like that.
I think like the Final Fantasy set, the cards that were powerful seemed like they were kind of unique, but they were also like intrinsically magic things, and it was like not all +1/+1 counters, and you got a little bit more idea of the world somehow through flavor.
Yeah,
I guess,
through like actually connecting mechanics to what they're doing. There's part of me that's just like, is there a point where like they just go, well, this is just like what they are. We just gotta start like pumping and dumping some of these things out, and like not everyone that we have that works at Wizards is like super knowledgeable about every single IP in the world, and the IP managers that we have working and partnering with us only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to our project right now, and they don't know anything about Magic, so they might go, Donatello gets big. That sounds great.
And we don't know any of this. Like we have no idea how the interaction is working. They may have thought a whole bunch of this, and if they did,
it's not coming across. If they did,
yeah, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily love the set. It just makes me like look forward to the next one a little bit more, which is fine. We're getting 7 of them this year. I just like that we're getting new cards. It's cool that this exists for the people that are into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just always missed me. I was hoping that maybe the Magic set would be a cool way to make me go, oh, maybe the Turtles are cool. But now I just have another way to go, oh, just another reason for me to not get into Turtles.
I learned this time that there are other Turtles that are like yellow and pink and different colors and shit, but like barely any of them have any cards, but there's 4 Raphaels. Why do we do that?
Oh, yeah.
Just like make 1 or 2 Turtles. That's the red one. And then like there are other ones. There's a pink one and a yellow one. Make a whole bunch of those. Like bring us into the world. I want to see all the other shit. I want to see like in Lord of the Rings, we got like random fucking orcs and elves and just, like they ended up being like really powerful. I want to see like different characters. We have 4 Donatellos. We have 4 Raphaels. We have 4 Splinters. There are more characters in the set. The 5th one's on Food Chain, but why isn't there a card? More cards around it?
And if we're not gonna have enough source material to make a whole set for something, then don't go there. Let's not go there and just have
make
4
Commander products or something instead.
And instead of forcing a set together because we don't have enough world building material, or it's the real world. I can't believe it's hard to make New York City cool in Magic the Gathering. I feel like there's got to be a way to make that cool, and we've only made New York City lame in Magic.
And I think that's a weird like subconscious part of it too, is like when you see the sword of whatever, it's a pizza cutter or something, and when you see like the corner of Brooklyn is like a card or something, I do think it weirdly like I don't know, it takes you out of the fantasy, but like,
But it's weird because like if we did historical stuff, if there was like an homage to like Nebuchadnezzar's gardens that were the 7 wonders of the world, like I would be super jazzed about that. At the same time, I think there's a way you could do that in a more modernish, like Ravnica's cool, and Ravnica's a city. Why do we like Ravnica and hate New York?
Yeah.
Because the flavor that we get from New York is not evocative. Whereas Ravnica makes you feel like you're in this,
like
yes,
a fantasy world,
fantastical city, but like there's a way you can make New York feel more fantastical than just lame and mundane. And just because you ride a subway every day when you're in New York doesn't mean that when you visit New York, you feel lame and mundane like you live there. When you don't live in New York and you travel to New York for the first time and you go to Times Square, you're like, what the fuck? But when you live 2 blocks from Times Square, you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here all the time.
And that's the perspective I think that they took, is like from the perspective of like the heroes,
the New
Yorkers that are like living in there. I think rather than like the visitor, which is like a lot of the people who are opening the packs.
Which is what we're doing. We're visiting New York. We're not New Yorkers. We're visiting New York for this set.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. I didn't really think about like the perspective that they were trying to take from it.
I think there's a way they could do it even better. I'm not saying they did a bad job, but I think that it could have been more flavorful, and I think that would have helped just make the set feel more magic-y.
And realistically, maybe it's just Turtles aren't for us, dude. I think that this is just not a set that I was gonna like either way. And that's okay. They don't have to be for me. I don't give a shit.
I like Spider-Man as a character, but I feel like it was the same thing with Spider-Man. Like it's very generic mechanically, and like there's very few things that make it feel like it's Spider-Man. Like because the mechanic's called web slinging, that doesn't make it a Spider-Man card.
Any final thoughts on this set?
No, those were my final thoughts. I don't know, dude. The next one we're getting this year for Underworld, for Universes Beyond, is, I was gonna say UB is Underworld Breach to me.
I know April we have another set, but I think it's not Universes Beyond the next one.
I don't think the next one's Universes Beyond. I think we're going to Strixhaven next. And for some reason, I want to say, I know we're getting Star Trek and Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit this year. I want to say The Hobbit is first. I'm nervous again.
Hobbit.
The Avatar set made me go, oh, maybe they can make good Universes Beyond sets again.
I know that they can.
This set made me go, oh, I'm nervous about the direction all of a sudden again, especially for an IP that I love.
Yeah, I think they'll do a good job with Hobbit, because that one is in a fantasy setting.
And they already did a good job with Lord of the Rings.
They did a good job, yeah. So I have high faith on that one.
But now I guess I'm worried that the Star Trek one's going to be a little bit. We're going to go.
That's another one. I'm not going to like that one either way, because I don't like Star Trek. I'm not going to care about that one unless the cards are good, and then I'll be like jazzed about it.
And then I'll like it. Yeah.
If the cards are powerful, then I'll be into it. But that's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you like to support us directly, you can do so on Patreon, like our $100 patrons.
Abyss AA, E4 Cards and More, Red, Finks MTG, Wandering Around, Mike H, Tom Bieber, Cumulative Upkeep MTG, Nathan Cohen, Mr. Jerby, Okie Toad, Penguin Man 0089, David Newman, Johnny Denver, Omelet, Rocky Hall, Pat Fire, Spingler, Larceny Wars, Your Boy Blue, Sparky B, SC Phillip, Golden Groupie, Zach Hartley, Big Legs Banjo, Reactive, Sean in the Ice, The Works 472, Gare Bear Garrett, Mace the Ace, Luke Cook, Connor Sipon, Joshua Day, Demon of Roscrease, Peter Stewart, Corner Wild, Uncle Butts, Toot Luke, Quadja, Hamid, Scott Hawk, and Baby G-Bus.
If you want to pick up any of our merch, you can do that at playtowinmtg.com.
Thanks, Dragon Show, for supporting the show. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the affiliate link down below.
Follow us on the internet for more content.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Bub Russell, Devin Morrow, Ruby Supreme, Turtle 99, Sarge MTG, Rick Sharticus, Mick Casaucy, I bet we say that one wrong all the time too, Max McCumber, Meta, Ben Finelli, Jason Brooks, Safarius, Ono Frog, Vietnam 69, Sarcastic, Mystic Muffin Man, Zachary Coulson, Dalton Poteet, Thomas Bueno, Jan Wildfang, and David Nelson.